Hello and welcome to episode 99 of I'm Fine, and that rhymes.
Yeah.
What?
Buster.
Buster rhymes?
Mm.
You going to say something?
No. I hadn't
Okay,
realised
well,
it was
shush
99. I hadn't realised it was 99.
Had you not?
Nope.
It comes after 98
Mm.
and is one before 100.
Mm.
It's a chat around the subjects of health, wealth and well-being with myself, Damo, and my freshly sheared mate, Mark. Your haircut is fresh. Don't look at me like you've not had a haircut.
Yeah, a while ago, I think.
Yeah, they don't know that, do
Okay.
they?
Yeah.
It's called
Yes,
content, Mark.
I just had it done today.
You
Thank
look fresh, it's sick, it's sharp,
Thank
it's bang
you.
tidy.
Oh, I forgot.
You look-
I recorded some of the... I forgot this completely. I put my voice recorder on while I was having my haircut.
Oh, you record some of
Yeah, I completely
Vincenzo.
forgotten I did that. Yeah.
Or Vincenzo, his three-word mate.
Yes. Yeah. I probably won't play it, but I can remember some of the highlights.
Oh, you're just gonna, even if you just annotate them and just bring them here and talk about them, that'd be good.
Mm.
Is there any pearls in there?
His view on vegan.
Right. Align with yours, did it?
Yeah. I think he's...
What, a red-blooded Italian? Right.
What was his...
I think you probably... it's a good guess, isn't it? So I think he's going to
Yeah,
not be a vegan.
I think his best 3 word, because he was basically the person, as we've said in past podcasts, to introduce that 3 words thing that they're now using for geographical locations.
Oh,
aren't they?
yeah.
Well,
he didn't invent that, did he?
He did it for conversations. And at one stage, we're talking about vegans. He just looked at me in the mirror and went, "What? No cheese?" It was
What? No cheese? Brilliant.
It was like a sort of, if you want a reason not to be vegan.
Yeah.
He went, "They don't bloody eat it." Well, I was 4 actually, so he was getting expansive on this. But yeah, he couldn't get over that.
Right.
He went, "None." And I went, "No, they don't have any cheese."
He'll just never get it.
No. But
No.
he can understand the animals bit, but
Yeah.
the cheese is like, it's not a living thing.
That's sacred, isn't it, to the Italians?
Oh, careful, yeah.
What? What? I said Italians, Mark.
I thought it was just some lazy racism. We
What do you mean lazy? If I'm going to be racist,
had some racism
it's not going to be lazy.
at the football.
Did you?
Mm.
Oh, because you went to the Rovers game, didn't you? Congratulations to
Thank
Bristol
you.
Rovers. What do you mean, thank you? Like you had anything to do with it?
I did my bit.
It's not your team. Well, it's not. You're not the manager. If you were Joey Barton sat here, I'd be fair.
If I'd hit the guy I was going to hit, the match might have been taken a different...
You're going to hit... what? Racist boy?
I lost my my wise mind
Lost your reggae. What?
No.
Lost your what?
I lost my regulation.
Oh.
I regressed to a younger me.
Right.
And I'm there.
We turned into a thug.
I'm there with my tight T-shirt going then. Go on then. Come over the netting.
Yeah.
You know how football
Come and have a go
do,
if you think
they?
you're hard enough.
We're like 5 metres apart. There's a small bit of nylon netting between us, but we're both going, there's no way we could cross that to have a fight, obviously.
Yeah.
It's like Moses parting the Red Sea. It's that nylon.
And a marshal looking the wrong way.
Yeah. And no, someone
So
called
what game
me
was
old.
this? What game was this?
This was the Rovers
Someone
game.
called you old. Someone shouted a factual...
I went, define your terms, you bastard. Relative to what?
Yeah.
No, it was a
You're
really...
old. Is that the best you could do?
I punched someone at football once when they called me old.
When was this?
Oh,
When you were younger?
No, a few years ago, not many years ago, in my 50s.
Right. You actually hit them?
Yeah.
Right.
We had a full
Did they get up?
Well, maybe I'll give a longer description of the match.
Let's go for it.
So I played in a six-a-side league on Thursday nights with a guy who was a captain called Scott. Scott was...
Scott. I play football with Scott.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's an absolute...
Or Scotty.
Yeah, beam me up. Yeah, he's got a temper on him.
Yeah, might not be the same one. But anyway.
It's definitely the same
So
one.
Scott was tall, good-looking, charming, but could turn on a sixpence, not just with the ball, but also in moods. We had 3 or 4 other players who were sort of half-decent level.
Because he was like, wasn't he semi-pro?
Yeah.
Scott?
Why
are you looking at... Why'd you look at me like...
Actually,
how do we know each other, Mark?
oh, yeah. Through football.
Through football.
Yeah. He played for Bar City,
Up at
didn't
Warmley.
he? Yeah.
Yeah, the Thursday night was the Warmley one, wasn't it?
Yeah.
We play on the Monday night. Jesus.
Yeah.
You are
So you
old.
came to a couple of the
Forgotten all
Thursday
this.
ones, didn't you?
Yeah, I got drafted in because they were clearly
They were
desperate to get me in. Honestly.
Before I go about the fight, which was actually, I think it was reported as a riot by the Evening Post. The best one we ever had. We were a real rag-bag team, so we were either playing teams of 20-somethings who fancied themselves, played on the weekend and were pretty decent, or absolute no-hopers who just came along to escape their partners on a Thursday night.
Yeah, right, thanks. There's no need to get so personal.
And so we were somewhere in the middle, and there was the most famous night in our history was they did the cup competition all on one night.
Right.
And so it would start off with whatever, it's 32 teams, and you go all the way and you play the final at the end of the night. So it was like game.
Yeah.
So we started the first game, and I think we won 3 or 4-0 and went into the second round. And in the second round, I think we won 1-0. We got into probably the quarterfinals at this stage, and a guy called Lee came over and he went, "Oh, didn't really know how to break this to you, Scotty." And Scott goes, "Oh, what's up, mate?" He went, "Got a haircut booked." And Scott goes, "What do you mean?" He went, "Didn't think we get to the quarterfinals." And Scott went,
Yeah,
what? And he said, "Oh, like she's coming round to my house, so I can't let her down." So we're in the middle of a cup competition.
Right.
Lee
and I didn't think we'd make it.
We didn't think we'd make it. So Lee
Hilarious.
goes off. So we're one man short. So Scott gets on the phone and goes, "There's got to be someone who can come up. We weren't so desperate to call you, but there must be someone who can play football." So they called a guy called Robbie. They said, like, "Robbie, we're playing football. We got through to quarterfinals. Like, we're kicking off in about 7 or 8 minutes. Can you get here?" And Robbie goes, "Well, yeah, I will. I'll get there as quickly as I can. I'm not that far away as it happens." Robbie was actually on a building site at the time, although this was evening.
Right.
So he turns up in steel toe cap boots and a hard hat. So we put him in goal.
Amazing.
And it came to penalties, and he's like saving penalties with his steel toe cap boots.
Do you have his high-vis jacket on?
Sorry?
Do you have his high-vis jacket on?
No, that would make it too easy for the penalty take. He had a camo one on. Where the fuck's that keeper? And then nothing actually happened after that. We got knocked out. It'd be nice to say we went on and won the final, wouldn't
it
we?
just?
Yeah, but that would be
literally
lying.
that was. So which part of what was it? Why did you tell that story?
No, so I was just saying that was just a
What a scene set.
That was a vignette, if you will.
A mouche bouche, was it?
On the riot, it had been a fractious match. There'd been a lot of pushing and shoving, and someone basically took Scott out from the back, just went down the back of his calves, really nasty. So Scott turned round, grabbed him by the collar and went like, "I've had enough," and sort of a big push. With this, there was a crowd of 4.
It sounds like your police statement.
Yeah.
And with this, I said, "Please stop, sir."
So there was a crowd of 4, which was the biggest crowd they'd had at that
Yeah.
particular. It wasn't really a spectator sport, but these guys had brought 4 on. With that, the punches started flying and the crowd came on as well.
The crowd of 4.
Yeah.
Right.
And I thought, this is going to get out
How
of
many
hand.
how many
6
people
aside.
constitute a riot?
So, well, it's 10 against 6 at this stage.
When's a riot become a fracas? I don't know what the stages of riot.
I predict a riot.
Yeah.
So yeah, 16. That's the lowest. Well, that's EU rules. Obviously, it's changed
Right,
now.
yeah.
Now we're out.
Then
But
right,
back in
it's
the day,
gone
it was
back, it's
16. Yeah. So there were 16 of us on the pitch, and I actually thought I'm going to be peacekeeper. Number one, because we're massively outnumbered.
Peacekeeper.
So I got this guy from behind.
Excuse me? Wait.
No,
Is this
there's no need-
peacekeeping?
there's
No,
no
I
need,
wasn't. I was
there's
just.
no
You
need.
just sound like you're accosting someone from behind. Doesn't sound like.
Held his arms back
Oh right.
and went,
Leave it, mate. It's not worth it.
yeah. Leave it, Sandra. It was a very open league. And Colin was in goal. And so anyway, I had him held like that. And one of our guys came over and went, "Nice one, Mark," and like literally smashed this guy's nose, thinking
What,
I was,
nutted him?
Yeah, like absolutely smashed his nose. So
What,
he
you
went.
just thought you were
down.
holding him,
Yeah.
just so he could.
He thought I
You
was
hold him, I'll hit him.
Go on, get another one. You're fast. I'll be there in a minute.
Line him up.
Coconut shy. So anyway, we ended up, because we had some nutters and they were like a younger team, basically chasing them out of the school grounds.
God.
It was like a bit of a Benny Hill sketch.
Yeah.
These like fat, slow old men chasing young boys covered in blood. And But yeah, we got our points taken away for that match.
So you should. Disgusting behaviour.
Yep. And we had a strict talking with too.
What about the other team?
Yeah, they did
they
as
get
well.
punished? Oh, good.
So in some ways, there weren't any winners or losers except football. Football lost on that day.
Is that right?
Yeah, it's a bit like Billy Bremner and Norman Hunter.
Who?
That fight.
God, you're so old. You don't help yourself, do you?
I was just telling
you were telling this story down at
telling
Rovers, and someone went, "Oh, you're so old." Billy Bremner.
It's the first colour match I'd seen. I was just telling you in the kitchen about the chart, though, wasn't I? That back in the day on the radio.
Yeah, that was that's good. Tell our lovely listeners about this. They might not know.
Basically, when football was introduced on the radio as the commentary, the BBC created they divided the pitch into, well, like you were saying, like battleships.
Yeah, but how many? Can you remember how many squares?
I don't know. I would guess it would be probably. I'm thinking sort of 16 by 8, something like that. Thinking about so you had letters down one side and numbers down in the other, and the commentator would then say where the ball was, or the person that had the ball, and where they were kicking it to. You got it?
Yeah.
Thank God it's real.
Yeah, it's under a website called Vaguely Interesting. You must know it, Mark.
I was chucked off it.
You got
too interesting.
You got things that are a bit too spicy for them.
In fact, if Joe Rogan goes interesting a lot.
What, just before he says something?
No, if someone says something, it's I can go.
When he goes interesting,
yeah,
right, does he?
I really like that because it makes people go, oh.
Am I?
Yeah. You think?
Yeah. So I'm just kind of flicking through this. January 22nd, 1927. From a wooden hut that largely resembled a garden shed, the first ever commentary of a league football match was broadcast.
Surprised I can remember. It must have been 86.
Yeah. The Division 1 clash between Arsenal and the Blades. Who are they? Sheffield
United. Because of the steel industry.
Right. Right.
That's why Sheffield Wednesday called the Owls. Because the well-known steel
because they
owls.
used to make owls up there, did they? Owl factory. The match played at the Gunners' previous ground, Highbury. Oh, there's lots of information here. Why are they called the Gunners, Mark? Why are Arsenal called the Gunners? For obvious reasons.
Well, Arsenal means a storage of weapons.
Thank you.
A lot of people who are up their own arse call them the Arsenal, don't they? That's the other thing. But they're not the Arsenal.
Not the Arsenal.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. I'm careful what I'm saying.
You've seen the picture, but the website doesn't mention the
You
thing.
got it.
Yeah. Well, it exists anyway.
It's been divided into 8.
Okay.
So I guess they'd say so-and-so has now passed the ball into 6. Or so-and-so's running down the wing on 3, running into 1.
So it's just progression along the pitch then?
I think so. Yeah, it wasn't anything more detailed, but...
Spot the Ball?
Yeah.
Back in the day?
Yeah.
Spot the Ball wasn't a picture that had the ball erased. It was a picture, and a team of experts decided where the ball would be. That's mad, isn't it?
What? But it was
it was a betting medium. You had a picture, black and white picture of like 3 footballers jumping in the air as if they were heading a ball.
Oh, did they just take it down the park or something?
No, it was from a proper match, but it didn't necessarily have
the
a ball in
it.
Or even if it did.
Well, no, if it did, there it is.
Yeah, so they removed the ball. I guess.
So they did it in some examples.
Yeah, there might have been a ball there, but I guess if there was a ball there,
then
everyone.
Yeah, so it's not actually where the ball was; it's where
experts think it is.
Does that make it more?
Well, it makes it that you couldn't
less
cheat.
Predictable.
Yeah, because if you'd seen the picture or been to the match or taken the photo,
it's all becoming very obvious now. Saying it,
but also there was no restriction on the size of the crosses. You could be.
Oh, is that right? You could cover 100 squares.
Yeah, I used to do it from. Well, it wasn't. It was just.
No, it's where it crossed. Obviously,
yeah.
Not.
But my gran would buy 240 crosses for like.
What about if you got a?
And I'd be there 240, and you'd cover the whole pitch, and you're going, how on earth?
Yeah.
Does someone sit down?
And have to go through all those.
Yeah, not that one.
They couldn't have done.
They didn't.
No, of course they didn't. So gambling is a con. Is that what you're saying?
It was the worst odds of any betting thing because it was just like it was. Well, is that it had to be made up?
Do you know the car companies that raffle off cars at the airport?
Yeah,
I don't know whether it still is, but it used to be based on Spot the Ball.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe that's why when you've got a £100,000 supercar, let's get the most difficult or the highest odds, right?
Yeah.
Or the longest odds, whatever the term would be.
But when you think when some people are doing it with pencil, prisoners probably with crayons. Do you know what I mean? It's like if there's no uniform cross, It's just, it couldn't happen, could
Yeah.
it? It's just when you think about
true.
it, it was just...
I don't think I've ever thought about it until you've
No.
reminded me. We're still in the intro, Mark. Can you believe that?
Well, we've had bants, haven't we?
What are we? We're a work in progress, and this podcast can't keep up, and this podcast is no exception. In short, it's spoken our perfectly imperfect lives, and if we can make just one person feel like they're not alone in all this, that work here is done. You can follow us on Instagram at imfinecast and search for all our episodes by category and tag at our website, imfinecast.com, and feel free to drop us an email at Was that you whistling?
No, it's a dog barking.
All right. And drop us an email at imfinecast@gmail.com.
I did an invisible dog whistle. Not invisible. Inaudible.
Yeah. Did you?
That's why it barked. Yeah.
Right.
In fact, if
You
you talk,
okay?
yeah, if you're talking about jibber jabber, have you heard Michael Gove this morning?
No. What was he?
Can we put this on if I find it?
Yeah.
Okay. I think this is going to have some bearing later on with the stuff we're going to talk about, the sort of how come. So one of my early how comes on this is how come that people who are telling us what to do and ruling our lives and running our lives can be such twats. Like, that's the how come of the day. So Michael Gove...
We're going to be here for weeks.
Michael Gove and Boris Johnson had like a to-do, didn't they, back in the day? And they were stabbing each other in the back to try and be leader.
Yeah.
And then,
yes,
when
the
Boris
leadership
Johnson,
thing,
it's like keep your enemies closer sort of thing. So Boris Johnson then brought Michael Gove in, and he's now head of levelling up. It always makes me think that he's going to do concrete floors and with the spirit level and go, yeah, you're right. So he was on BBC basically to talk about the fact that this country is like got rampant inflation and everything's out of control, and we've just signed up to the World Health Organ. I'm going to come to that in a minute. So,
the WHO. Yeah.
So I'm just going to give... This is Michael Gove, one of the most serious and senior... Just a sec. This is on Breakfast TV.
But that doesn't amount to an emergency budget, which is what some people immediately thought that it did. It is an example of some commentators chasing their own tails and trying to take a statement that is commonsensical, turning it into a major capital letters, a big news story, and in fact, when the Treasury quite rightly say, calm down, then people, instead of recognising that they've overinflated the story in the first place.
I mean, calm down.
Yeah. Okay. Harry Enfield reference.
Harry Renfield.
To the Scousers, right?
To the Scousers, yeah. And Brookside, R.I.P.
Yeah.
But I was thinking, firstly, he had a little bit of an American before that, and then just a stupid Zippy from fucking Rainbow Voice.
Now, George.
But I was just thinking, say he'd sort of got into Jamaican patois halfway through.
He would have had the full set. Yeah. But also, if you watch that, I was couldn't see it all, but he looked like he couldn't even sit still either. Is that guy on something?
Yeah.
Because I've seen other clips, actually, of him in...
He does take cocaine, doesn't he?
Was that...
Yeah.
Because I've seen pictures of him just stood there in a busy House of Commons, gurning his face off.
Yeah.
Footage of him just totally eating his own face. Yes. I mean, it's extraordinary. Unless he's had a really hot curry for lunch. It could only be one other thing, right?
But to try and imitate a sort of 1990s sitcom character... that was
even the newsreader was like looking around going, is this guy for real?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, anyway.
Okay, so we are gonna come to your... I haven't kind of got to this bit yet, but we're gonna cover in this. Look at this episode. What? My script's all over the place.
I was going to say, how come a masturbation special?
It's very good.
Okay.
10
top tips.
A very quick thing.
Yeah.
This is episode 99.
Yeah.
Which remind me of... What does it remind you of? A 99.
A flake.
Yes.
And we covered that.
Did we?
Yeah.
And what? Did we?
Yeah.
Did we cover where the 99 name for the flake had come from?
It was originally called a 69, but they thought that was too much of a mouthful.
Mark, what's wrong with you tonight?
It's like a Morecambe and Wise special, isn't it?
Not the Morecambe and Wise I remember.
Yeah,
I mean, they were the edgier of them and the two Ronnies, admittedly, but they were never quite that risque.
No, I think two Ronnies were risque. They went a bit Benny Hill, didn't they? The two Ronnies.
What, Benny Hill?
Yeah, big boobs and stockings. Yeah, they did.
Oh, right.
No, we have covered this. It's where somebody lived. We covered it in a pod.
Oh, yeah.
And then we found out there was a shortage of 99 flakes because they're made in a different factory to the flakes.
God, we've covered some stuff, haven't we? Okay, well, there goes that bit of content then.
Yeah.
Okay, fair enough.
That's just one bit of homework you've
Let's
done.
get onto your kind of, the masturbation special then, Mark, while we're at it. Where do you want to start? WHO?
Yeah. Well, I wasn't going to start with that.
Because I walked into training on Tuesday. Oh, by the way, I can't train tomorrow morning. Got to take my van to the MOT. So does that mess you up? Bit of personal admin on the podcast? You're looking ever so upset. Are you all right? What?
No, it doesn't
Are you
upset
winding
me
me
at
up?
all. No, yeah. I don't know why.
I actually started to think, oh God, I think I have upset.
No, I was
him.
just looking forward to training you tomorrow because I think the sun's going to be out. And
What, guns out? Is it tomorrow?
sunset guns out.
I haven't seen your body for a while, Mark.
It's ace.
Is it? Well, why aren't you showing me?
I would.
You do.
Yeah, no, but it's the old carnival special, isn't it?
Hold on, before we came on air here. Well, there's a mirror. We're in a different room. We're back in my house. We're in a different room in the dining room. There's a mirror in here. I said, "Oh, it's good for you. You're sat opposite the mirror. You're probably used to that." To which your reply was,
"What did I say?"
It was about 10 minutes ago. Do you not remember?
No.
I can't be vain. I was vain in the gym, and I ended up injuring myself.
Yeah.
You injured yourself from vanity.
Not from looking in a mirror.
Like, yeah, that's what I thought you meant to start with.
I'd finished my set. And this is the good bit.
You were pumped, were you?
This is where I should have let it lie. I did a set on dumbbell bench press, and it was a good set. And the guy next to me, as I put them down, threw them down, obviously, because in case there wasn't someone who wasn't looking, threw them down to create some noise.
Yeah.
And he went, "God, fair play, mate." He said, "I actually had to look twice at the number on your weight because I couldn't believe it the first time." And I was going like...
And you're proper old. How are you lifting that?
Yeah.
Yeah. You get it everywhere you go. I mean, it's right. Ageism is rife, isn't it?
Yeah. Your carer's done well there. So I said, "Oh, thank you." And it was something I discussed with someone I was training with last week in terms of... This is a serious point, I think, in terms of the
We are occasionally.
Gyms have changed because of people's perception of behaviour. One of the things that came up, there was someone on TikTok who was lifting. A woman was lifting on TikTok, and she was videoing herself, and a man came up, and he said, "Oh, excuse me, how many sets have you got left?"
Oh, yes.
And she went, "I've only just started." And he said, "Oh, thanks," and went off. And then she goes to the camera, "This is my pet peeve."
Yeah.
And I'm going, that's a gym protocol.
Yeah.
Because we have to share at busy times.
Also, rather than standing there and make you feel uncomfortable, he's done the right thing. Gone, how long are you going to be?
Yeah. And if she said, "I'm going to be 10 minutes, he'd go, "Great, I'll do another exercise and come back."
"Oh, typically I'm getting harassed because I'm a woman in a gym," right?
That's what came out.
Okay.
And what I wanted to explain was, I think it's fantastic, the number of women in gyms, and I think it's fantastic that especially most of the gyms I go to at the moment, they've like really embraced, and there's a groundswell of change. So I'm 100% behind it. But back in the day, the answer to that would have been, you can step in. When I'm having my rest, you do your squats.
Yeah.
That's what happened.
A lot of people wouldn't know that, right?
No, and that's what I'm saying. It's almost what's happened is people that have been going to the gym, if I was in that
might
position,
sound quite alien to some people, and it kind of did to me. I think you've mentioned it before to me. Again, I guess that's kind of idea of personal space has changed very much recently.
Yes.
But a lot of people might not realise quite the tight kind of community, and some people go and are quite I remember we had Amelia on, didn't we? Episode 6 or 8 or whatever it was, talking about just this, wasn't it? Self-image and confidence in the gym.
Yeah.
And I guess some people go in there quite nervous, don't they? Yeah. But there was a time. I'm sure that everyone's been nervous when they first go. But once you're a gym goer, I guess especially back in your day, 1900 and frozen to death, right? But that's the thing, isn't it? You kind of, it's a real community, and like you said, you just, because it's busy, I guess, if you're in a busy gym, you've got to try and work around each other. Yeah,
and you sort of go, well, we're both paying the same fee here. You don't necessarily have the right.
There's no hang-ups, is there? Really, it's nice.
And I think it was taken sort of a little bit out of context, and because you can hear him say it, he was very, very polite. And I thought there's one or two other things that are sort of happening is that I'm sometimes aware. I think I would probably watch every single person in the gym to see how they lift, to see what they're lifting, to see what their form is, to see if there's new exercises. There's people in the gym who I might just sort of nod to that I'm starting to get to know. But I think there is a sort of a thin line, because immediately...
Well, yeah, there is. I'm immediately going, you're just watching people.
Yeah.
Okay, your intentions are good, but people might feel very uncomfortable about that, men and women, right? If they're not familiar with...
But it's a very...
Because you know, you're you'll say you're old school, but you've been doing this a long time.
Yeah.
How long have you been training?
40 I was trying to work that out. 43 years. Yeah.
So it was interesting. You've probably seen all flavours, haven't you?
Yeah, and just diverting very quickly. I was doing that. The book. Is it Gladwell? I think it's Gladwell.
Malcolm Gladwell.
Yeah, the 10,000 hours to master something. I was thinking. I started lifting in 1978, and I'm thinking, say I do 5 1-hour sessions a week.
Yeah.
That's 5 hours a week, so 260 hours a year. Take off holidays, being pissed, being out of the country, comes down to about 230. And then I times it up, and I think this year I've now got to the 10,000.
Congratulations. Does that make you an expert? Except
for yesterday when I was a prick instead of being an expert. So basically what happened, this guy had complimented me. I was really happy.
Yeah.
It was nice of him. I said thank you. It was just a nice piece of affirmation, and I was lifting well. And I do try and, because some people know I'm a PT there, I do want to do the form properly. I don't think it's right that I sort of just fling them around. Anyway, I then did another exercise, and I just thought I'm going to go back and do the top weight that there is in the gym.
Oh, right, yeah.
Did them really well. But to get them, because I wasn't being spotted, I wasn't with a training partner, to pull them off the ground, to get them on my knees, my back is in agony. So I can lift them lying down over my head, but getting them off the floor isn't a good move. Yeah. And so, and it was so cross, because I was thinking to myself, you are doing this purely out of vanity, and I just feel a bit of a prick, to be honest.
Yeah, you are. So there's a lesson for you.
There's a lesson for everyone there.
Don't be like Mark.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Is it sore?
Yeah. I'm meant to be racing on Sunday.
Well, we all know about your new diet. We talked about it in the last pod, didn't we?
Yes.
How you're going to heal like some kind of X-Man.
Yes.
Man, woman, person, aren't you?
Yeah.
Just go, whoosh, just going to heal. You just slice yourself open with a knife and just go, whoosh. Do you know what I mean? Like Wolverine.
Yeah.
All thanks to your meaty diet. How are you getting on that anyway?
Yeah, good.
Yeah?
Good. Yeah, everything feels good.
Great.
I'm having...
Not sick of steak and egg yet?
No, I'm having little diversions once or twice. It's also quite hard. We were just saying beforehand, I'm starting my summer camping season, so I did a camp out this week.
Oh, right, yeah.
You know that time I went in Wales in just a sleeping bag?
And slept in a hedge?
Yeah, and got attacked by that ram.
Oh, yeah. Attacked, air quotes.
I'll film it next time. I wrestled it to the ground.
Did you fuck?
Then I ate it.
And that's what started off your carnivore diet, was it? That's what
perhaps for the camping season, because I'm going to do that while camping again.
On Tuesday, we were talking about the practicalities of said diet, weren't we?
Yes.
Kind of preparation, where you get where you buy it from, your source, not sauce, tomato sauce, where you buy your meat from, and then how you store it, how you prep it, how you cook for multiple meals and that kind of thing. And then you kind of go, it's okay when you're at home, but if you are in your camping season or going on holiday or whatever it is, there's either more prep or you can't do it, depending on where you go.
Well,
because Carnivore MD, again, we'll drop his name. It's getting quite interesting, because he just walked into a supermarket and went, this is why everybody's unhappy, overweight, and got health problems.
Yes.
It's because most of the stuff in here is really, really bad stuff.
Yes.
And there's more of that than there is the good stuff on a very simple level.
Well, I'm pleased you brought that up.
You're welcome.
The point I was going to say was, because I had no cooking utensils, I thought I've got a few choices. I don't mind eating steak raw, but I didn't particularly want to. And so when I was getting my evening meal together, went into Lidl and thought, obviously, being carnivore-ish, which I'm describing it as now, because I do have odd bits of fruit.
Carnivore-ish. There's a little bit of polish, isn't it?
Crisps and chocolate.
All right. Yeah, okay.
And so I thought, right, try and stick to what you're doing. Just because you're going camping, you don't have to undermine. You're feeling so good with this diet, and don't. So I'm walking down the aisles, and it was what you just said then was really interesting in terms of choice, because I'm going, okay, let's look in the fridge, and so there's quiches, and I'm going, that doesn't fit the criteria.
Yeah.
And then when you actually look at a quiche,
you don't want to.
A quiche is just a pizza in a different form, isn't it? And you know my views on pizza. There was a couple of sort of sell-by sandwiches, and someone was saying also, why do we eat sandwiches at lunchtime? Bread just bloats you and tires you out. It's not, why are we eating?
Because it's cheap as shit for the people who are making them.
And again, that reminded me a little bit about the thing I said on pizzas. If you took a sandwich apart, I thought, you're paying £4.
I think there's a whole Instagram account just in that, just taking foodstuffs apart and
deconstructing.
Do you know when people like lay their stuff out before they go on holiday and then take a photo of it and put it on Instagram? Yeah. Just do that with every.
And you could have guess the thing, couldn't you? Guess the.
So I guess if you broke everything down and looked at them, it actually would look revolting.
Yeah.
Because a pizza looks lovely, doesn't it?
Yeah.
It does.
And I've noticed one or two of the things in the shop as well. So this is a new shop just opened. That some of the lighting, the food is different when you take it out the shop. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? It's like it's a different colour when it comes out. So anyway, I was looking and I thought, I'm not going to have quiche. I'm not going to touch the fucking pork pies and sausage rolls and pasties and all that sort of stuff. So I thought, I'm left with fish and meat. They didn't have anything. I wouldn't have sushi because of the rice, and there's not enough protein in it. So I'm basically stuck with. Yeah,
but is pepperami in or out? Just because I mentioned it to you the other day.
No, that would be.
There's just not a lot of it, or is it just like arseholes?
It's more filler than killer,
and
isn't
hoof.
it? Yeah,
hoof.
So I was basically stuck with either having raw steak, raw eggs, because obviously I didn't have any way of cooking them.
You should have gone full caveman. That would have been awesome, wouldn't it?
What, killed another ram?
What, sat outside your tent just covered with your mouth and face is covered in blood?
Well, I found when I got to the campsite that there was a carp pond there, so I could have actually deep dived, got a carp and had that. So anyway, I bought sliced beef.
Oh, yeah.
That was the only meat that didn't have a bloody face on it or look. It didn't look reformed.
What, like the kids' meat?
That teddy bear ham.
Yeah.
Whoever thought that was a good idea, wasn't it? We'll get a pig, we'll reform it to look like another animal.
Yeah, it's not even a pig. It's a bear, isn't it?
No, but the pork's from a pig.
Is it? No.
Yeah, it isn't bear ham.
God, is that an exclusive? Do you know what I mean? You think why'd you pick a bear? It's like because it's cute and you've got to encourage kids to eat meat. Was that the idea of it? You just go pig. The circle's complete, right?
Easiest face
then you've got education in there as well.
If you were doing ham art, what else could you do? You're not going to sort of do an armadillo, are you?
All right.
Or you could do a series. You could collect them like football cards. Collect ham and have it in a collector annual with like a Stay Fresh pack.
Yeah. You have to put it in your book and then seal it.
Yes. I want a gecko. Fuck off and eat the dog. So anyway, so I just took 10 slices of beef.
And isn't this the start of your how come?
Yes.
Beautifully done, Mark.
So the how come on this was how come that when I was trying to find what I'm calling raw food, which is Paul Saladino, Carnivore MD's real name, there wasn't food as in its purest, rawest form, besides eggs and one or two bits of meat.
Well, because you're in a convenience store, right? You're not. It doesn't have a butcher. It doesn't have a butcher's counter or anything like that, does it?
No, but how come? Because they've also got rid of all the things like the rotisseries now because of COVID.
Yeah, well, I guess what you're saying, they don't have just I guess shrink wrap bags of heart, liver.
Yes. Why can't you just buy a thing that the ingredient is that thing?
Yeah, on its
everything has been made
with putting something else with it. Yeah.
And if you look, this is really...
And that was actually Paul Saladino's point when he went in and said, look, took corn chips and said, look, that's cooked in, it's all seed oils and stuff like that, because that's his tip. But most of the things that on their own would be okay are then cooked in something that isn't. So you're right, it's that. And you've been looking at ingredients a lot recently.
Yeah.
Haven't you? And you put it on your Instagram the other week.
Yeah.
About this is meant to be the meat-free alternative.
Yeah.
It's just full of, shit and all sorts.
Yeah.
Fat four kinds of fat or something.
Yeah. I mean, I know you can go in one or two specialist places like Pret does like 2 eggs in a little pot.
Yeah, in a plastic. But yeah, then you're into that.
Plastic
$3.50
thing.
or something.
Yeah.
two eggs.
But it got to the point, and I was thinking, because there were some other guys from the gym had come in, and one or two were buying steak and that, and you're thinking, is there not a market for just buying eggs in whatever form? It could be an egg in the form of like a frittata or an omelette or something like that. I would buy an omelette, even a cold omelette. I'd buy an omelette.
Yeah.
Buying things.
Can you not do those? Don't they do those in packs?
Couldn't see any.
Oh, right.
So that was the point I was making, was that nearly every single food there was either convenience food or processed food, or you couldn't just pick it up and eat it.
So I guess your meat in a packet. Yeah, your meat in a packet is classed as processed, right? Because I guess is that kind of that sliced ham, beef and stuff in a packet, basically all mushed together into something and then sliced, rather than it's just literally not sliced off the back end of a cow, is it?
Well, this is the thing.
Or I don't think it is.
No, it isn't. But when you look at bacon, you go. I always sort of had this idea that they were sort of carving the side of a pig, and it just came off as bacon if they did it. And it can't, can it? It can't come off in that perfect.
I don't know. It just shows we don't know. Why don't we know these things?
But I'm sure bacon is.
I think it is.
Whatever goes in to be sliced isn't just like a pig. It's like it's.
No, I think it's
gone through a process before it's sliced, hasn't it?
I don't know. I don't think bacon has. I think if it's in a packet. No, I think it is off the joint of a.
Okay.
I think. Oh God, I don't know. God, I feel really ignorant.
But I think the majority of ham and things, the majority of chicken thing now is reformed. So McDonald's or nuggets will go 100% breast.
Don't you knock nuggets? Don't you knock the chicken nugget? God, I love a chicken nugget. I really love a chicken nugget. Don't say chicken nugget, because I'm going to have to go and buy. I'm going to have to stop the pod and go and get. There's some foods.
Do you do dippers as well? In dinosaur shapes.
Yeah, what's wrong with that? No, chicken dippers. No, it's one of those foods that if someone mentions it, that's it. I have to eat it, otherwise I can't get it out of my head.
Yeah.
Yeah. Where were we? But I think that's a really good point. Incredibly uneducated when it comes to food that we eat.
We don't even know where bacon comes from.
No. I think we've established it's from a pig, right? Yeah. Which is a great start.
But I think the point
anyway,
I was
so your how come? That's not your how come. We're kind of digressing.
And there's probably people listening and going, well, there was a fruit and veg. You could have picked anything up there and eaten it, but not many things from the veg. I could from the fruit, which was the argument before, wasn't it? That veg doesn't want to be eaten and fruit does. That almost proves that point.
We are skirting on your how come here. A couple of them, aren't we?
Yeah. Yeah. And so going back to the
point?
Going back to the point of the beef, as I sat there outside my tent,
What a sorry state that must have been.
No.
You eating sliced beef from a packet outside your Woolworths tent.
This is this is the sad bit. This is the sorry bit. I'm such a sad fuck. Seriously, I sort of roll the beef up in this.
What, to make a cigar?
A sort of Cuban cigar. Imagine the sort of
one slice at a time.
Yeah.
Right. And sit there like fucking Michael Jordan smoking a Cuban.
Or like matchmakers from the 80s.
Or eat them like Scooby-Doo. Like, is that what you do?
Or put them between my forefinger and my middle finger.
And just
smoke beef. But yeah, I do. But also, how would you
just admitted that?
You can't eat it in pancake style. You're not going to fold it into a square.
Well, there's lots of different ways you could eat it.
There's one way. It's like a Cuban cigar.
Well, you could just hold it right by your face and just push your finger in and just kind of, so it all just slides off your nose.
I saw somebody do that with I had a duck the other day, a whole duck.
Yeah.
That was hard going.
No, go on, let's clarify. Do you have two halves of a duck?
I had two halves of a duck.
I still don't think that's a whole duck. I'm not convinced. I guess they were bits. Two halves of two different ducks.
I couldn't tell.
It's not a whole duck.
So what was missing? Like its neck, I guess.
The other half, for it to be a whole duck.
Two halves make a whole.
Yeah, but it's not a whole duck. It's two ducks, but two halves of ducks. You didn't have a whole duck. It was two different ducks. You had half of two different ducks.
Okay, yeah.
That's what I find funny, so it tickles me.
Yeah.
Anyway. That's how sad I am. I find that funny.
That was nice.
I just put you off, haven't I?
Yeah, I'm trying to work out
where you were going with that. I was talking about putting it in my mouth.
Oh, yeah. Thank you. So when I bought it said serves 4. Well, it didn't, obviously, because I could eat it. So that was a lie.
Yeah.
But it was for duck pancakes. So it had 20 pancakes in,
it came
and
with
the
pancakes.
hoisin sauce.
Mm-hmm.
And I saw some... I got something else to show. Something that will absolutely freak you out. But just wait, just put that on hold. So
what is it? I don't even know what to write.
TikTok
video, right, okay.
So because I'd had duck, I go onto TikTok and the first video is a woman eating duck pancakes. It's like...
Spooky.
Well, the one I'm going to show you is going to be earth-shattering. TikTok now is taking over the whole world.
Is this someone talking about how two halves don't make a duck? Doth not make a duck, it don't.
So what this woman did
proverb
was say, this is the best way to make duck pancakes. So she put the pancake in her mouth exactly as you described.
And then put the duck in.
Chucked some sauce on, put the duck, and then pushed it into her mouth.
Legend.
So the pancake went straight in.
I like her a lot.
So obviously I threw the pancakes away and just ate the duck.
Of course you did, because you're an athlete.
Yeah. So TikTok is getting out of control. So
we haven't talked about how come. Are we ever going to get to this?
Oh, the how come was
I bookmarked that one, so don't worry, it's safe.
The one I mentioned to you, and I've mentioned this to 2 or 3 people. Yeah. But so I was able to eat the beef straight out of the packet in the Cuban cigar style.
Well, yeah.
I thought if I'd bought lettuce, quite often it says wash before eating.
Yeah.
And I'm going, I've just eaten a bit of a cow.
Mm.
That was fine for me to eat with my grubby hands sat outside my tent, and there was no health scare on that.
I'm sure it had its arse wiped and it was shaved beforehand.
Yeah.
But even still.
But lettuce somehow has to be washed. And the 2 or 3 people that I've said to this have come up with very similar answers. One of the answers is, well, lettuce is grown in a field. Cows are grown in fields, so that's the same thing.
Yeah, you like to think.
Lettuce don't shit, so that's another thing. But also, it's like, what?
It's just been pulled out of the ground and put in a box.
In a bag.
Yeah, but I'm sure there's other things,
what happens
right?
to it when it's in a bag is that you have some susceptibility to, not to the bugs as in living things, but...
Well, just water, moisture, everything being stacked on top of each other, and I imagine.
But you're meant to wash it because, I don't know, it isn't salmonella, but it's some...
Yeah, I guess.
We're comparing this with a cow. And the cow has been put in.
You're suggesting a cow is dirty to start with.
Well, I'm just saying, if you said to the average person in the street, which do you think is the biggest risk to eat with your hands
from a hygiene point of view?
Slices of beef or lettuce, you've actually got to wash the lettuce before you can eat it.
Yeah.
You don't.
So what they worried about? Because I kind of said, when you were talking about it on Tuesday, I was like, well, what's their worry? Are they covering their arses? Has someone, died from a pesticide something, or a bug that's crawled in there and, kill a spider or something like that?
I used to work with a salad producer. He didn't wash. He was doing aquaponics, so a lot of the stuff wasn't grown in the ground, or if it was grown on the ground, it wasn't like covered in crap sort of thing. It was just sliced so that the leaves weren't outside, they were all inside. Yeah. But he had to put a sticker on his, because he sold to a lot of restaurants in Bristol, saying this must be washed before consuming. And it just made me think, so what actually happens to a lettuce inside a plastic bag compared to a cow inside a plastic bag? Yeah. The cow doesn't start breeding.
Why you're not washing your meat, so to speak.
Yeah. to coin a phrase. So, I just thought that was an interesting, especially because I'm on this sort of tip of vegetables being
evil
demon killers. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it just.
Okay, TikTok video.
So my social media use is spot on at the moment. Like I'm in control.
Pat on the back? What do you want? Do you want some affirmation? Well done, you. What does that mean? What was it spot on? Not any? Some? Managing it?
Controlled.
Not winding you up? Okay.
Controlled. So I use Twitter for small bits of politics, like the Michael Gove interview and one or two other things, and Biden fucking getting £40 billion of aid. $40 billion of aid to Ukraine. 40 billion.
That is a lot.
Last week, I was saying on this very podcast,
yes,
they've given 4 billion. That's a lot of money. They've just voted through 40 billion.
That's a lot of what? Was that?
I think that's probably to pay for fucking U2 to go out there again, or probably maybe not.
Have they gone out there?
Yeah, he's gone out there. He sang with
Bono?
them. Yeah.
Oh, he's going to make things worse, isn't he?
Yeah, they're going to do the Ukraine Eurovision entry. Yeah, if you're talking about betting tips, I would put a few bob on that. I reckon they might win that. They say we're.
You are are you joking? They're not. What?
No,
you are joking.
You two went out there.
Okay, you're joking about the Eurovision.
Yeah,
right. Okay,
but I'm not joking that they'll win.
Right.
Do you know what I mean?
Oh, yeah, so what you mean. Not
Yeah.
U2.
No, U2 aren't we?
The Ukrainian entry.
Yeah.
Yeah, nailed on. Of course it is.
I'm using Twitter for, well, actually quite a lot of football because the weekend was so brilliant. I've been following one or two of the Rovers
All
players.
the riots that you've caused. Just see if you can see yourself on Twitter punching someone in the head, right?
So Twitter for politics.
You didn't talk about the racist. Did you want to talk about the racist? Or no, is that too much?
No, I don't mind talking about it. No, it's there's really nothing to say.
Is that a good how come thing or not? As an example?
That does fit as a how come. Oh, yes, that's a very good how come. Shall I launch into it now and then come back to the TikTok?
No, I think do your TikTok video and we'll come back to that.
Okay, so Twitter for politics and for football, Instagram for nutrition and diet. I'm the people I'm listening to, I'm really interested in their thoughts and I'm picking up some really, and I'm not just going, I'll follow everyone who agrees with me. But coming up with some really good nutritional information and advice and thoughts, and so I'm really enjoying that, finding that very positive. And I just allow myself the slightest look on TikTok to keep my conspiracy theories going. I will play the first TikTok that came up today. It's a very, very short clip.
Okay.
My name is Amelia. I have an extremely rare genetic disorder. This condition is so rare.
Now,
is that it, or is that a tease? What?
So, I'll come back to that.
Okay.
And I'll show you the pictures. The pictures are so random as to be incomprehensible. It's not really worth describing to the listener.
Okay.
That there are only 400 known cases of it in the whole
It's a cake.
world. And I'm one of them. I'm sure you will be shocked when you find out what it is.
Someone making a
You
cake.
might not even believe it. First, I want to tell you about something that happened to me when I was sick.
So, the opening line of that is, "Hello, I'm Amelia.
Yeah.
I have a rare genetic disease."
Yeah.
So my daughter is Amelia.
Yeah.
And she has a rare genetic disease.
Right. You could be talking about AI here.
What I'm talking about...
putting names and things together.
But the video I started to show you is a split screen.
Yeah.
And someone is making a Victoria sponge underneath.
Yeah.
And the rest of the video, they make a sponge, they then cover it in red fondant, put pine nuts in it and make it into a giant strawberry.
Right.
The top part of the split screen is this...
It's like a diagram, like an infographic.
Yeah, and it then becomes an animation with this girl, Amelia, who is 6 years old with a rare genetic disease,
Right.
with her family attacking a snake in a wood. It's hard to understand any of that.
Yeah.
It doesn't make sense on any level. It's got 180,000 views or likes, I'm not sure which.
Right.
But the opening line, that was the first video came in. Now, you can go...
it's got your attention, hasn't
but
it?
it's my daughter's name.
Yeah.
She has a rare genetic disease that I have obviously mentioned or she's mentioned.
It smacks of bot now you've said that, because none of it, there's three different things that have come together.
Yeah, and the pictures have no relevance to anything.
No, and
they don't have to.
There's probably 50 versions of all of those images, videos.
With different names.
And then all the names, as I said, it's all kind of AI being strung together, isn't it?
And the interesting thing about...
But what's it achieved? I mean, we're talking about it now, but we're talking only in the context of what the fuck was that?
They never say... I watched the whole thing. It never says what the genetic disorder is.
No.
And it says there's only 400 in the world. Now, the interesting thing is when I discovered the genetic mutation that I've handed down to two of my daughters, the genetics department in Bristol actually went to a conference in Europe to try and find someone, because at the moment it just has a number. Do you know what I mean?
It doesn't have a name or anything?
No.
Right, okay.
So it's sort of the three of us to a degree. It's D32 or something.
Is that unique to you three, or is it so rare? Or
we found one. So what happened was, long story short, we found one other person that had something very, very similar, and it was a young woman. I think she was around Manchester way, who was a few years older than Amelia. And when all the hospital types started talking to each other, this guy in London was treating this woman. It's called an elastin gene mutation. So although our number might have been slightly different, this woman was. Okay. And this is where I think life, not saying life is mapped out, but certain things just come together. So the powers that be suddenly said, well, this guy in London, he's a top professor. He's been dealing with this person who's got elastin gene mutation. Amelia had elastin gene mutation, was a similar age, just a little bit younger.
Right.
And so they said, well, it makes sense for him to look after the pair of you. Yeah. So we used to go up to London regularly for Amelia to be checked out by this doctor. And he put her in touch with this other girl and said it might be nice to have a bit of peer support because we were just finding out what the mutation meant. I think, Amelia might correct me, but I think she'd been contacting her on Facebook and just exchanging a few things. And this woman said, oh, I've been coping all right and I'm on these drugs and blah, blah, blah. Anyway, and I might have got this bit wrong, but one day Amelia went to the Facebook page to type something in and it had been made into a memorial page for this girl.
Oh, Jesus
this girl had
Christ.
died. And I think I've put a bit of this out of my head, but anyway, Amelia or the professor or whoever, we found out what had happened.
Right.
And basically the young woman had gone to the pub with her mates, had a brain aneurysm, it burst, and she died in the pub. I think she was about 21.
Sure.
So, of course, the professor, I think they might have known she had a brain aneurysm. I'm not positive on that. The professor then goes, we need to do something about this. So we took Amelia to a specialist in Bristol who said, you need a MRI scan on your brain. And they discovered a tiny, 1 millimeter brain aneurysm. Right. And it was about 6 months later, I think Amelia might have had another appointment or something, and I think I was at the appointment, or something happened, and we were saying about the mutation, and someone in the room went, have you had an MRI? And I went, no. And they went, it's the same mutation.
Yeah.
So I had an MRI. That's when they discovered my aneurysm. Right. And then 12 months later, I had brain surgery because it had grown and grown. Now, if those events hadn't taken place, if that poor woman hadn't died and then hadn't been connected to Amelia and that person hadn't been in the room, then I probably would have been in the same situation. You think that's just a series of events. I don't even know where all this starts.
No. It's
so it was when they went to Europe, they tried to find people with the same mutation and they couldn't. So when this person said there's only 400 in the world, I don't know how many people there are in the world, but we only knew this girl. That's the only person we knew that had the exact same mutation. But for that to come out, as you say, to have two videos with it that are totally meaningless. I'm watching this video and all this girl Amelia does is strangle a snake in the wood. Yeah. And then they make this strawberry sponge underneath. It's like all the AIs come together and gone, target him because he's got a daughter and she's got a genetic, and then it doesn't matter what you chuck in. Yeah. Our work here is done, sort of thing.
Yeah.
But that really was quite shivery.
There's a load of that kind of stuff where you look at and you go, I don't get it. I don't... Sometimes it is a bot or it's just text and it's a visual with subtitles of a voiceover or something, and it's complete. It's so random, but you're being served it for a reason.
Yes.
It's probably it might have a motorbike and it's got a road in it, or you're kind of okay. I kind of it's tenuous, but I can understand why I'm seeing it. But the actual content makes no sense. No message, not selling anything. We've seen the same clip, and I can't remember what pod it was. It was again someone on Instagram talking about what TikTok is like in China. It's very different. It's celebrating the best of Chinese engineering, medicine, art, culture, isn't it?
And limited on what times you can go on if you're a child.
And here it is just the most inane shit you could think of.
It's the undermining of Western civilization. Yeah. But the interesting thing
that is literally that, isn't it? It's so
it serves no purpose other to go. So we're watching you. That's basically all it says.
But it's rotting us, isn't it? We're getting confused by it.
Yes.
We're getting mixed messages. We're getting hooked on stuff that isn't meaningful.
Yes. Yeah.
It's proper dumbing down, isn't it?
And I was trying to think, has this been microphone? Our attention. I haven't talked about Amelia. I haven't been to hospital. She hasn't been to hospital. And then I thought, I've been looking after her flat while she's been away for people that are staying in the flat for Airbnb. So the old GPS has gone, he's spending ages in this flat, and this flat belongs to Amelia.
Yeah, of course.
And she has got a hospital appointment. Ironically, she did have a hospital appointment come by letter. So maybe in her house, she'd gone to somebody, I've got a hospital appointment with Professor so-and-so. And they've gone, and now he's there all the time. And we know her name's Amelia.
Sure.
So that was quite
that is
shivery.
Weird. Yeah, that's a good outcome, is it? How come
they get
you can surf that?
Yeah. Because you can go, well, it isn't coincidence, but it's not the name and the...
You could go, the AI stuff is clever.
Very clever.
But it's not achieving it, in this use, it's not achieving anything. It's like, okay, it's that classic, just because you can doesn't mean you should have. It serves no purpose.
No.
It's not even clever, actually. The actual technology is, but its execution, or its reason for being, isn't clever.
No.
It's not serving anyone or anything.
It's serving itself.
Yeah.
Because it's getting cleverer and cleverer.
Unless it's just out there.
Because it's listening to me saying this now.
Maybe it's learnt something for giving you those 3 things.
And it'll go, oh, what? Somebody else died of a brain
That's quite
aneurysm.
scary, isn't it? If it's something to some psychology behind the cake or behind the infographic about, I don't know, wrestling a snake or whatever it is.
Yeah.
Maybe that's doing something. And you're going to see another one in 2 days' time. Another combination of images. It's like Darren Brown, isn't it? When he does his stuff, and you realise you've just been seeing stuff all the way to the show.
Yeah.
You've seen it on a billboard, or you've seen it on the side of a taxi.
And then, of course, you start reading stuff into it. So I said to Amelia...
behaviour change stuff, isn't it?
Yeah.
My manipulation.
And there's a story that we told back in the day when you tell funny little stories of your kids. We took Amelia to Tunisia when she was 1 year old, and they came doing snakes in the hotel as some sort of entertainment, and it went near, and she basically grabbed this snake and
really?
Yeah.
Or is this like a kind of a dream when you kind of wake up? No, not you having dreaming. I mean, as in your horoscopes or something. You will then go, right, what is the relevance of that? So you go back through your entire history, your Rolodex. You pick out a story that is close to that, or actually is that.
Yeah. And
so is that relevant, or is that you trying to find a meaning in something that doesn't have a meaning?
Exactly. There's 2 ways of looking at that, because I said to her, wasn't this in tune? Like, I couldn't quite remember the whole thing. I was only 1. I can't remember doing that. But I'm thinking, you could go, what's the point of that cartoon? It doesn't make any sense at all. But it's talking about a named person with
who had that experience,
who had a disorder. Who did? My other 2 daughters didn't put their hands around a snake, and it could have been they got lucky, or it could have been, I don't know. She was away on holiday and she was saying, "Oh, I'm in Cyprus or wherever it is now." I can remember once in Tunisia, and just a throwaway comment, and
could be in training mode, which that probably is, right?
And
we're just going, what the fuck is it? And you've clicked on it, you've looked at it, and it's got, right, at least you've looked at it for 5 seconds. You've gone back and looked. You probably looked at it about 4 times.
And I've sent it to Amelia. So they've gone. We got this one right.
Yeah.
We've chucked a worm in the carp lake.
Maybe that is exactly the reason.
And the bastard's bitten.
It doesn't actually matter. It's just. It's resonated.
Yeah.
Talking, because we've talked about attention being
and they can then build on that, can't they?
Yeah.
We've got him on this. He's looked at it twice. He's talked about it on his podcast, and this is this is obvioly being listened to.
And when they're going to send you
China
that packet of beef you've been looking for.
Oh
my god! It's just what I've been looking for.
it'll be
my heart, my raw heart in a pack.
Yeah.
Lidl are now doing.
Little launch. Beef cigars from their Shanghai branch.
Yeah. Just
ideal for camping trips. Now, if that happens, I'm retiring.
Only available in Bristol.
Yeah. During summer months, dry summer nights. Yeah. But and I think it gets to the point where people go, but you and your theories. But you go, come on.
What, are you suggesting that someone is sitting there listening to this shouting, "Oh shit"? I don't believe that for a minute.
What I'm suggesting is that it's fine for us to joke about stuff, but the number of theories we've discussed
very serious.
Is
that what you're saying?
Yeah.
Very, very serious.
Very serious.
What are the how comes you got? What are the things blowing your mind?
How come was the World Health Organization treaty? I haven't been able to read the whole thing. Well, there's 2 things.
Is this the one with Bill Gates is up to no good?
Yeah. So he's the biggest private funder of the World Health Organization, which is very much like the World Economic Forum in that it's a sort of self-appointed. It doesn't actually have...
So my mum sent me that thing that I forwarded on to you. I haven't read it, haven't done any kind of fact-checking of my own. But was it legit? I'm not suggesting my mum sending me, conspiracy theories. It was about Bill Gates having, and some other guy in the WHO suddenly having kind of surveillance powers or powers to... roll out surveillance in case of another global pandemic and that, but I didn't read into it. It just had Bill Gates and pandemic, and I thought, oh, you love it, so I'll send it to you.
Yeah,
let you deal with that one.
He wants to create something, and I keep wanting to call it Scab. It's not called Scab. It's a 4-letter acronym beginning with S that Bill Gates wants to set up basically as a team. Scab, Seed. It's like fucking Wordle on air, isn't it? It's something almost vaguely medical, but a bit dodgy.
It's not germ.
Yeah, germ. That's what I said.
So germ. Germ is the Global Epidemic Response and Mobilisation Team.
Yeah, someone worked hard on that, didn't they? I still think Scab is...
Scab, yeah, much better. Okay.
Basically, to Précy, he's gone. We've just had a worldwide pandemic. Interestingly enough, him and his team actually discussed what should we do in a worldwide pandemic just before it started, didn't they? A couple of months before. They had a sort of
very
walkthrough.
suspicious, wasn't it?
Yeah, what if something broke out from China?
Yeah, well, we covered that one of the pods, didn't we? That was from a lot. Wasn't from that though, was it? This was like that was an art, like a comic strip from like 10 years previous or something.
Oh yeah,
it?
no, but Bill Gates actually had a
they had
a meeting just to say. So what he's basically said is this is going to happen again. He didn't give the date, but he probably knows it. And this is going to happen again. So what we need is a crack team that can go, right, this is what we're going to do. Because we need to do it as the world so that we don't all die. And as far as I can understand and say, I haven't read the whole thing, so I might be a bit misguided on this.
Yeah.
He's basically gone to all the countries in the world. If I get my crack team together and it happens again, they'll sort everything out because they'll be top scientists and they can. And I think Boris Johnson has just signed up to this to go, yep, okay, count us in. So an unelected
that's the thing.
organisation that is funded primarily by America and then Bill Gates, I think he's the second biggest funder of the whole of the World Health Organisation, is going to say, if this happens again, leave it to us. And the World Health Organisation were the ones that basically promoted following the Chinese model of lockdowns, which has basically been disproved as a good way forward. World Health Organization also said not to wear masks at the beginning and then changed their mind. So for something that is so good, there's been an awful lot of changing of minds and what we should and shouldn't do.
Yeah.
But I think every country near enough has gone, yeah, fine, we'll sign over to that. So actually, the ironic part of this is that we left the EU so that we didn't have an administrative body making decisions on our behalf, and now we've given it to an individual, basically.
Yeah, and the only reason you get to that is just by being massively wealthy and powerful.
Yeah, it's
which we've talked about before. So that's the only... Because when I'm kind of going, I'm switching off to everything, there's no point. What is the point in me getting involved? And some people, we talked about this before, some people will go, well, if everyone had that attitude, we wouldn't change the world. It's like, well, unless I become Bezos rich,
Musk,
rich, or Gates rich, because he's not even fucking rich anymore, is he, compared to them pair?
No, well, he's half as rich as he was, isn't he?
Yeah, then democracy's gone to shit, hasn't it?
Yes.
It doesn't work.
No.
Because everyone's just signing it. It's like, oh, he's got it. I can't be asked to look at that. He's got it. We'll trust him. He's made computers that didn't go wrong.
He's got
largely.
a team. Saves us doing it.
And he's been working in Africa for years on malaria, so he must know his onions.
Yeah.
Bizarre. I mean, but like, how come do we get to that point?
But the BBC interviewed him the other day, and I just saw a short clip of it. I don't know if it was a short interview, but they didn't say much. Bearing in mind, I think he gave it's to a BBC charity, so it isn't strictly the BBC, but I think he gave 55 million to help them do research work in Africa, which I didn't know. I don't quite know why that's BBC work. Anyway, that's by the by. So they had this interview, and you could tell the interviewer has gone like, seriously, ask him what his favourite colour is, and then say he's looking well. We'll keep it at that.
Yeah.
And she obviously had to bring up something about Epstein, and he went, looking back, I realised that I probably made a mistake having a meeting with him, was the way he described it.
Yeah.
And she said, why do you think it was a mistake? And he said, well, I did it for the right intentions. What I wanted to do was to meet him because he'd promised me that he had access to people with money that would like to give and donate to my foundation. So he said, I was really doing it to try and fundraise for the good work that I'm doing in Africa and other places. And I'm sort of going, you're top 3 in the world for money. So you decide to have however many meetings with a convicted paedophile because he can get you a few dollars.
Yeah.
That's a mistake on every single level. Like, when did you ever think that was... So you weren't asking him to get you money because you're the one with all the money.
Yeah, right.
It's like, me going to a homeless person and going, I'm looking for a new Merc. Can you...
Yeah. It is weird, isn't it?
Yeah. And Epstein's money has come from bribes from people that were on his island doing what they did and paying him to shut up. He didn't earn his money. He made money on financial markets, but he was given the money and given the property. He didn't have a background of money. And I'm going, you didn't meet him once for dinner. You came to one of your biggest fundraising. You actually went on his private jet once. You were on the log, and probably other times when it wasn't. And you're going, he was a paedophile. It's like someone going, yeah, I asked Jimmy Savile to help me with my fundraising. It's so ridiculous. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But he's there on an interview going, yeah, it was a misjudgment. And we're all going, oh, well, as long as it's a misjudgment. So he's now in charge of the next pandemic, basically.
Yeah.
Self-appointed mayor of Pandemia.
Very good. Do you want to talk about your football how come before we finish? Or is it a bit tasty?
Oh, the racism?
Yeah, it's a bit tasty.
It was I might be just pushing, I might be poking bears here. So stop me if you think
I think, we also discussed when we were going to bring the pod back.
Yeah.
We could try and talk about these things. I think you can talk about it and put it out there and go, how come this is a thing?
Yeah.
Not a right or wrong, it's just let's just have a think about the balance.
How come, then. Yeah. So
this might be a complete train wreck.
Yeah.
But let's go for it anyway. Let's finish with some,
we never made it to 100.
Yeah, right. If we're going to go out.
Okay.
Yeah.
So my how come on this is how come there is a pecking order of hatred.
Oh, crikey.
So this started before the football match when I'd seen something on the news when somebody had been attacked and killed, and the police spokesman said this was not a hate crime. And I went, in my books, it is.
Yeah.
It wasn't a love crime.
Yeah, sorry.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
If someone has done something horrific like that, it is a hate crime.
Yeah.
What they were saying is that under legislation, there are obviously certain reasons for offences that then are recorded as hate crimes.
And gives it, a pecking order, isn't it? I mean,
yes.
It's your kind of grading of...
I mean, a murder is a murder.
Yeah, but there's really bad ones.
Well,
you're saying there's good ones or less bad ones. Do you know what I mean?
That's why I'm saying how come it needs that extra layer. That's my how come.
No, yeah. It's a good
but
point.
we had that how come with COVID. How come that someone wasn't getting treatment for cancer but was getting a ventilator for COVID? How come there was that sort of prioritisation?
Yeah.
So when I heard this, and I haven't looked into it, but I thought, and I know from past history when I've obviously been working with criminals, that you can have race hate and you can have, I guess, crimes that are done on because of gender or because of sexuality and things like that. And I guess the hate crime comes under a number of those.
Yes, of course.
So when I went to the football on Saturday, I didn't stand in my usual bit. I had a seat at the other end, and the team that we were playing probably brought about 150 fans down. And they'd already been relegated, so there was a lot of gallows humour. So when we were singing You're Going Down, they sang along with it. There was that sort of like, we know we're crap. It was, and it was pretty decent banter. And what was happening was that in order for us to get promotion, we had to win the match by a big margin and hope that another team didn't do very well.
Yep.
The other team were 3-0 up after, I think, 20 minutes. So the away fans were just listening to looking at their phones and going like, you're not going anywhere, lads. Not unless you're going to score 7 or 8. And so that's fine, and you give a bit of give and take. And then it just got a little bit, the mood just turned, and they just started, they weren't watching the match or singing, they were just, there was a row just facing us on the other side of the netting that were just basically going, just hurling abuse. Yeah. And it was getting quite wearing, and I was feeling myself not being regulated. It was like, I almost don't mind proper banter. If there was 1,000 of you and 1,000 of us and we're trying to out-sing or we're trying to be clever. But
some of it can be funny and clean.
Yes.
But just funny, silly.
Yes.
Could be quite smart, some of it. But
yeah. And there was one or two things where they picked up on something or, whatever. But it just had quite a strange feel. And they were picking on one or two people in the section I was. And this wasn't like the hooligan section. So it was like, really, these guys are just here to watch football. Yeah. This guy came along, quite a big guy, looked out of his face, a Rovers fan, looked out of his face and started shouting back at them. And it became about 8 or 10 of them hurling abuse at him and him telling them to fuck off.
Yeah.
And then he started singing a song by himself, hoping the whole crowd were going to join in, but not caring that they didn't,
Right, okay,
you know when you go to start a song and no one joins in and you just
carry,
be quiet.
He went through,
the whole repertoire of every song he knew.
Yeah.
So they were putting all their angst and vitriol on him.
Yeah.
So they decided that he was a paedophile. So all the songs, all the abuse was, you fucking paedophile, you're this, you do this.
And their songs?
Well, they were putting them to tunes. They weren't necessarily.
Okay, got you.
They weren't classics.
from the songbook.
Christmas classics. Yeah.
Yeah.
So they were calling him a paedophile a long time. Anyway, he was getting very aggressive. They were getting very aggressive, and then at one stage, about 3 or 4 of them goes, "You're racist. You're racist. You're racist," and they said to the stewards, "Come and get him, come and get him." And the stewards are going like...
This is the Rovers fan?
This was the Rovers fan. They were saying the Rovers fan had said something racist. Right. And then they started singing at the stewards going, "You're not doing your job, you're not doing your job." Right. And it just went on and on and on. Anyway, the stewards then came in and started talking to him. And he was about 10 metres from me. If someone is racist, whoever they are, and I'm there, I will tell them to shut up. Yeah. I would not allow someone next to me, even if I was going to get a punch in the head back. Yeah. Because if you don't say anything, you're
it's your football club. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't want him to be racist. I don't want him to the club
belong
to
in your club. Yeah.
So the stewards came in and sort of said to a couple of us, like, "What's going on, boys?" And I went, "They've been having a load of abuse at him. He's been giving a load of abuse back. All I know." So at the end of the sort of interview, they went, "I think you better go, mate." And he went, "No, this is like a big match. I'm not going." And because he was a bit leery and and they went, "Look, you're causing a bit, so we're going to take you out."
Right.
So they're all cheering and then going, "You're all fucking racist. You're racist. You're racist," like that. Right. And then 2 of them got their phones out and literally stood filming all the Rovers fans for the whole of the rest of the match for over an hour, just stood there videoing us. Oh. I think in the hope that they could video one of us saying something and then go to the police. There's another one. And I'm going,
right.
We were being, if someone does say racist, even if you're being agitated, you should be taken out of the ground. Not denying that. But this was the how come.
Yeah.
How come somebody can call a member of the public an effing paedophile repeatedly?
Yeah. At the top of their
abuse,
voice. Yeah.
Say they're going to beat him up. Say they're going to see him outside.
Yeah.
And then when he says something back that wasn't actually heard by any of the authorities, but on the balance of probabilities, he may have said it.
Yeah, you didn't hear it, but... Yeah.
So my how come would be, how come he's been taken out for that when that guy there for 15 minutes has been accusing him of doing things to children? Where is the...
No, absolutely right.
So that was my how come. It was how come that also, how come we've got to a position...
you're into that. I'm going, as soon as I said it's equally unacceptable, in my mind I'm gone, is it?
Yeah.
I've actually gone, actually isn't one worse than the other? They're both pretty terrible.
Yes.
Aren't they?
Yes.
I mean, immediately my body's kind of recoiling because, well, for the very reason that the stewards came in and carted him off anyway.
Yeah.
Because my whole sensibility's going, oh my God, that's a really awful thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah, in this day and age,
it's the worst thing to be.
But I'm thinking, my how come
we're ranking. Yeah, we're ranking.
And you could say, if you're taking it, that calling somebody a paedophile is just a slur and it's an insult. Calling someone black in a derogatory way is factual in terms that you are picking on their colour, which is indisputable.
Yeah.
And I get it, and I'm not saying I don't get it, and I'm not... What I'm saying is how come... So what then would happen if he hadn't been racist, and for the next hour they'd call him a paedophile? Does it come to a point where he can go to the stewards and go, I'm getting quite upset.
Yeah.
I've got 20 guys now baying to beat me up, telling me what they're going to do to me, and calling me... Like, I'm a little bit in fear of my life. I'm here by myself.
Yeah. So why is that? Yeah, I'm here to watch a football game.
Yeah. And is there sort of a common sense committee goes, no, that's right, you come to football. You've got to expect some banter.
Yeah, right.
So there was another guy in his 70s who was very, very overweight and had a big white beard. So they started calling him Father Christmas.
Yeah.
And when that started, it was funny. Yeah. And he laughed.
And then they laughed at that.
When the other guy got taken out, they then picked on him and then started using the same slur on him. And he was a guy, probably 70, 72.
Yeah.
And he was upset by it.
That was he.
And at one stage, he stood up and goes like, just fuck off, a lot of you. I'm trying to watch the football. Police walked up. Come on, mate, enough of that.
What?
Took him out.
Seriously?
Yeah, they said, and they were filming us the whole time. So there was 2 coppers there with camcorders. One had seen him stand up.
So he's just stood, what,
he stood how long? He went
how much abuse
like this?
Oh, because he's inciting riot or violence or something. He's just telling him to shut up.
And I thought, how come they can call him that? But when Santa gets on his feet,
oh, bless him.
And they're like carting him off, and I'm thinking, if he goes and has a heart attack or that, the poor guy was, or they said to him, look, why don't we just move you away from the way supporters? You're an old bloke. Let's, And then they took one of their guys out. But the how come for me is how come that we make judgments. And there was other things that happened during the course of after the match and after the celebrations. So nobody was arrested for the whole celebration. The celebrations were like mad. There was like thousands of people in Gloucester Road. There was people doing all sorts. The traffic couldn't get by, but there wasn't a single arrest, which was probably very good by the police because it was good nature.
Yeah.
But there's a photo that I've got on my phone of the Bristol Rovers centre forward on top of traffic lights pouring beer over his head. And I'm going, I've been in that position and the coppers have pulled me down.
I didn't know you played for Rovers.
Not centre forward. Centre forward on a Thursday night. But it was also like, how come, and you could go, well, they've used a bit of judgment, but it's like, it's the context. You can do that in another context and you've got public order offence.
You're absolutely right.
So it's how come you can do certain things at certain times and it isn't breaking the law.
It's hijinks.
It's a fantastic image. I mean, this obviously doesn't carry very well on...
Can we use the image on the, for our... Can we use the image for the pod?
Someone's done a painting of it.
Oh, okay, cool. Yeah,
it's
we
good,
can get that
it's
from
quite...
somewhere. Is actually the player?
That's our centre forward on top of
What a legend.
But it's a good... And the actual photograph as well is...
okay, I'll try and find it and put it on the... put it on the thing. So just to kind of wrap up...
Yes.
And just to kind of on a bit of a lighter... I think we played that quite well.
Yeah.
Balanced, hopefully.
Mm-hmm.
So just as a bit of a kind of an upbeat to end on, as a how come, you want to talk about the result? Who got the last laugh in all that, Mark?
Well...
Because some people might not know, some people might not give a shit, but I thought it was pretty incredible.
The BBC Sport Department declared it was the greatest promotion in English football ever.
It's probably right?
Yeah. I mean, basically what happened was that we were on equal points with another team, and their goal difference was 5 better than ours. So if both teams won, we needed to win by 5 more goals than they scored.
Yeah. And because you mentioned the other game that was happening, what was the result in that?
So the other game at one stage was 3-0. Right. So we then needed 8 goals to win.
Never going to happen, is it?
Never going to happen. We'd scored 2 at this stage and they scored 3. No, we hadn't scored 2, sorry. But there was at one stage we needed 8. And then just before half-time in the other match, the other team, who were also very low in the division, scored. Right. So that took 1 off the total.
So you need 7?
So at half-time, we were 2-0 up, and they were 3-1 up. So nothing had changed. It was still 5 goals.
Oh, okay, yeah.
So we'd only scored 2 goals in the first half. And then in the second half, their match stayed as it was.
Right. I mean, again, you're never going to... You need to win 7-0, right?
Yeah. So we knew when we came out at half-time...
Can't see it happening myself.
No. We haven't won 7-0...
I mean, you're a betting man.
Ever.
I mean, what, in the history?
Yeah, in the history of the club. Yeah. Since 1883, we haven't won 7-0.
Oh, right. Yeah, never going to happen.
Never going to happen.
Yeah.
And there was a little break, and then suddenly you could just tell, and it was almost wasn't nervy. It was, we had 34 shots, which is...
Was there a point in the match when everyone just got a sense of it's on?
At 4-0, the guy next to me said, do you think we could do this? And I said, there's 2 things that can happen. We're discounting...
Wrong person to ask if you want a quick answer. Yeah. Let me give you the 35 scenarios.
I used to be a bookie. I've got a small exercise book here.
With my workings.
What I was saying was, and this is something I need to say to you, what I was saying to him was, there's 3 things at play. The other team were not going to score against us. They couldn't get out of their own half. Mm-hmm. So the things that were happening is, could we score enough goals in the time given? So a goal every 9 minutes is what we had to score, because we only scored 2 at half time.
Yeah, most people just go, we need another.
But no, there's a point in me saying
right,
this.
okay.
But I said there's two other scenarios. One is for every goal that the other team, Northampton, score, we've got to then match that.
Course,
so it might be 6 goals in this half. But I said every goal that Northampton's opposition score means 1 less for us. And if you remember, and my predictions at the moment are spot on, yes. I said to you, our match will finish considerably later than Northampton's. Do you remember me saying that?
Because you said there was going to be something that delayed the game.
Yes.
That's what you.
I said that to you on Tuesday.
You did say that to me.
And what happened was that there was a pitch
someone
invasion.
forgot their boots.
Yeah.
Okay. Wasn't anything caused by... So did the game start on time?
Everything was on time. There was a pitch invasion.
A strategic pitch invasion.
Just exuberance.
But at what point in the game?
7-0.
Oh, right. It did happen at 7. Well, yeah, I guess you would.
So
how long to the end of the game?
4 minutes.
Right. I thought you meant there might have been one jury just to delay the...
No. So our pitch was cleared by the referee. So even when all the spectators had been taken off, he then took the players off, which seemed a strange...
Right.
It wasn't sort of they were camping out on the pitch.
Right.
It was like celebrating with some players and then the stewards were ushering them back.
So the 7th goal went in, everyone's gone bananas.
We've now got to hang on for 4 minutes and hope that nothing happens in the other.
Yeah, or do something to make the game abandoned and not... and screw the whole thing up for your football club, right?
Well, the way we were attacking, you thought we could probably get 8 or 9.
Right.
So it was almost like, do we want it abandoned? We were on an absolute roll. So he took all the players off, all the substitutes, the managers, everything, for 15 minutes.
Oh, my... right.
So by the time they came out...
The other games had finished.
We knew the result of the other game. So we just knew we had won promotion as long as for 4 minutes, this other team. So what happened...
So the first time in Rovers history you got a back 10 as well.
Sorry?
Rather than the back 4.
No, what happened is that... I think they
everyone in goal.
It was a drop ball. No, they got the ball and did the first attack they'd done in 90 minutes. We had to make a save. They did another attack and we're going,
oh, what have we done?
We've forgotten how to play. So ironically, instead of it being like, oh, this is great, lads, the result.
We might have screwed this up.
And someone ever went, look, we can make mints. And so we then attacked and their keeper did a really good save and then blah, blah, blah. And then the 4 minutes was up. But it was funny how people go. The guy goes, how long were they off for? And I said, about 15 minutes. He went, God, there's going to be 19 minutes of extra time. And I went, no, there's 4 minutes. There was 4 minutes of the game.
Don't tell me how to explain how that works.
Yeah, it took me 19 minutes. But everyone was going, God, I can't bear this for 19 minutes. But it's a strange... And you go, am I right or are they right?
Oh, yeah, when when more than one person says it, oh, God.
When they went off, there was 4 minutes left of the game.
There should definitely still be 4.
They've been in the dressing room for 15, so there's now 19. No, there isn't. And everyone around's going, oh, calm down.
Oh, that's surreal.
So yeah, we'd won 7-1 before, but since 1883 we'd never won 7-0.
Brilliant.
So yeah, jubilant scenes.
Mm.
But the players just basically stayed with the fans on the pitch and then went clubbing with them. There's pictures. That particular centre forward has been off his face for the last 3 days in Dubai now. The chairman sent them all to Dubai as a thank you, which was nice. So
very good.
Yeah, good times.
Right, we'll end on that then. You just
got
slapped your thigh in a jubilant manner.
Yeah.
Well, you are happy. That's it for this episode. Well done for getting this far. And thanks for listening to us. Remember that you can follow us on the socials by searching for imfinecast. And feel free to drop us an email at imfinecast@gmail.com. Right, we'll see you in the next episode.
Yeah.
Bye.
Bye.